of this, basically happens. That's where the fight is. And so everybody out there just needs to do the right thing, speak out against evil, and evil won't be able to take over. It's this do whatever you're told mentality, and that, oh, authority, is right no matter what. That's the opposite of what our country and freedom is based on. Charles, we'll talk to you tomorrow, hopefully.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be tomorrow, if I'm going down there or not. Our phones will probably be out. We're probably going to have, for a long time, my phones went out almost 10 days.
Well, I'm going to give you a hotline number. We're going to give you a hotline number right now for the radio and the TV, so that if you're on cell phone or last time you were able to get calls in, we want to know what's happening. Hopefully, it won't make the levees break this time. Hopefully.
Well, they say the water is going to be 17, 18 inches, and you can seep under there. I don't think the levees are going to hold, to tell you the truth. And if they do break, they don't have the pumps to pump them out. It's the same as last time. And it's already flooding in some spots. It's already if the call grills and all cars are stopping, it's already flooding. I don't know what happened with the pumps. They ain't pumping the water, but they said what they said, honey, they could pump the water out in no time at all. But the $15 million, they only use $10 million of it. Some pumps ain't working.
Well, listen, Charles, we're going to get you the hotline number right now, and we'll continue to track this. We'll pray for everybody in Louisiana and surrounding areas with the new hurricane about to hit you sometime in the early morning hours. 7 years to the date, maybe even to the hour. This sounds
almost to the hour, say, around 1 o'clock. But my wife told me to tell you, she prays for you every night and your family, and she loves you.
Well, we love you guys, too, and we love everybody that loves freedom. Charles, we'll talk to you again soon.
Give me that number, I'll call.
All right, we'll put you on hold right now. Okay, that's it with Charles. We're going to go to break. Man, amazing this is happening. Isaac, now a Hurricane Army Corps, says New Orleans is ready. We're going to go to break and come back with the one, the only person out there that I know has covered a lot of really powerful issues that I even thought were off the chart crazy, but have actually come true, Steve Quayle. So Steve Quayle will be joining us on the other side to give us his perspective from his sources about the collapse. Can it be averted? The Iran war, the globalists funding al-Qaeda. We'll talk about it all with Steve Quayle, syndicated radio talk show host, on the other side of this quick break. Stay with us. It's InfoWars Nightly News. Alex Jones here with a message that could revolutionize health in this country. Going back about 1.5 years ago, I began to learn about the incredible health effects of longevity products. Aaron Dykes lost 92 pounds. We're going to show you some before and afters. Aaron, break down what happened, your story.
I've worked really hard with diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but I just didn't get the results. It just didn't happen. Then I saw what you were doing with InfoWarsTeam.com. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but I got it because I wanted to feel better energy. I wanted that nutrition. Didn't even understand how that could kickstart my own weight loss goals, but the products did that for me. I found myself suddenly losing weight, more energetic, wanting to exercise, wanting to eat the right foods.
And they don't even advertise it as weight loss. I want to challenge our radio listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com. Sign up as a distributor and get wholesale pricing discounts at InfoWarsTeam.com. And we are back with the final extended segment interview with Steve Quayle. Now, I got to be honest with you. I remember about 15 years ago reading one of his books about genetic engineering and cross-species chimeras and how they were changing human DNA and how they already had human clones. And I thought, this guy's out there. Later, I actually checked the footnotes and found out it was actually even in mainstream news and in scientific journals that this stuff was going on. And he also, I remember, more than a decade ago, I guess you could say Steve Quayle kind of radicalized Alex Jones a little bit, and I'm saying that sarcastically. He'd say they got Northcom being set up for martial law and gun confiscation, and they've got re-education camps. And I'm like, I know they got some FEMA camps, but re-education camps? And now it shows how far down the rat hole we've gone, that as all this stuff comes out in the open, Steve Quayle is proven right about more and more, which is frightening because if so much of what he's talked about is now admitted, I'm like, is the rest of it accurate? I mean, I know he's a good guy. It's just that none of us want to believe this. I know people that visit INFOWARS.com and you know, they see news about Homeland Security doing secret testing. U.S. Code Title 50, Chapter 32, subsection 1528, paragraph B. Aaron covered it extensively earlier, and Dan Badandi expand on it. That's where they say they can do lethal testing on us if it's for experimental research. Now, the government can't do testing on us just regularly, but if it's for research, it's okay. I mean, reality is so wild that Aaron Dykes heard me today talk about that on radio, and he said, let me see that code again. And he went and pulled it up at thomas.loc.gov, and he said, my God, it's true. It says they're barred from it, but then says unless it's for experiments. So the point is, truth is so much stranger than fiction. I'd hear Steve Quayle 15 years ago on places like Coast to Coast AM, and he'd say, they're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. And I'd go, look, I know vaccines are bad for you, but come on. Turned out all that was true. So he's got a lot of military sources, a lot of sources in Northcom. He's out there in that whole area around Colorado. And you could say maybe they're trying to feed him disinfo sometimes. Well, they try to feed us disinfo. So the question is, we're not saying either one of us is 100% right. But I know Steve Quayle is trying to get the truth out, and that's what I'm trying to do. And let's hope that if we look at really how bad things are or how bad they can get, that will cause an awakening that can back all of this off. But, hey, Steve Quayle deserves a lot of people's apologies out there because Steve Quayle has laid out so many things. I mean, take Glenn Beck a few years ago saying that there are no FEMA camps when he knew full well there were. Now the FEMA camps are in the Emergency Centers Establishment Act. I'm ranting. I want to go to our guests. It's just that it's all there. The Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program. We'll put up some of these documents while he's talking, guys. The Army plan for re-education camps, and you can link through to the Army's own PDF. They responded to us and said, yeah, that's ours. You shouldn't have that. Their declassification of training for mass gun confiscation, like in Katrina. I mean, we're in trouble. The admissions on the news that we've been conquered by international banks and world government is here. That's all over the news. I mean, it's amazing. Steve Quayle, I don't usually get you on. You hadn't been on about a year. I don't usually get you on and, toot your horn for 10 minutes before. But really, I wish you were wrong. I wish that so much of what you talked about wasn't coming true. And I kind of dread to hear what you say is coming next. But first, let me ask you this question. Why do you think they're coming so out in the open right now? And then where do you see all this going?
Well, first of all, Alex, they're on record as stating they don't care anymore to keep it hidden. When they thank the media, obviously David Rockefeller's famous quote, you've quoted it, I've quoted it, that they wanted to thank the media. They now are so convinced that they've got it in the bag. They've got the legislation with National Defense Authorization 1867. They've got the foreign troops. And let me put everybody in remembrance. 10 years ago, I was talking about the foreign troops that were being brought into this country, NATO troops, and being placed in different military bases and alongside our troops. When you started picking up, and I started picking up, a lot of the information about the Russians training here and 80 other nations training here, it started to dawn on people, most of the United States troops are out of country, and all these foreign troops are in country. Then when Hillary Clinton and Obama's regime came on board, and they started talking about the United Nations Small Arms Treaty that was going to disarm the United States citizens, most people would always argue about the fact that, well, U.S. citizens, or excuse me, U.S. military wouldn't fire on the U.S. citizens, and to a large degree that's true. But by placing our troops in harm's way, and we'll get to that because the card that's going to be played out in both Iraq and Afghanistan is going to be our troops are going to be subjected to, once the Middle East thing starts, and Alex, you can take this one to the bank, I'll go on record as this, once we initiate, or the whole World War III scenario unfolds according to the globalist plan and blueprint, then our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan get hammered, and it will be a combination joint effort between Pakistan and Iran to destroy our troops. And guess what? Now we have NATO troops, which are here in the United States, ready to disarm. You've interviewed them. I've interviewed them. You put videos up on your website. I put videos up on my website.
And by the way, that's not even, I mean, it's worse than that. They're admitting they've got troops in NLE-09 and others for domestic operations. They are admitting they've got Russian troops for anti-terrorism. Yesterday, and I'm so conditioned I didn't even cover it, guys, type in Russian planes to take part in anti-terror exercise over America. And who's the terror threat? Gun owners, conservatives, libertarians. It's all coming true.
Alex, the disturbing thing is that when the Russian sub was in the Gulf of Mexico, undetected, Alpha-class sub, what most people don't understand is the disarmament of the good guys in the military and their displacement is taking place at a record or breakneck speed. Canada had a 5-day flyover for Russian bombers, nuclear bombers, to map the entire country and all their defense installations. So what most people don't understand, I've said this, rape, pillage, and plunder, the United States is going to be sawn asunder. And the point that you and I have trying to get people, or have spent 10 years, 20 years getting people to recognize, is this is now in play. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, Alex, it was warning and it was hard to swallow then. Now we've got Spetsnaz, and I laugh at people, Lunev, Viktor Suvorov, Vasily Matrokin, some of the most famous defectors in the history of the United States, USSR Cold War, have told us that when you see Spetsnaz troops in America, Stanislav Lunev said, then you know that you've got about 2 months left before all hell breaks loose. We've got fires breaking out, which is just called pink terror. Then they move to gray terror. We've got fires at nuclear sub bases that they come up with hokey excuses that somebody got mad and set a fire. It's all BS. It's all pablum designed to throw us off track. We are now, and I don't know if you saw this, Alex, but now we've got the Russian generals going into NORAD. For most people, if they want to get a feel for what that's like basically having the hen house and asking the entire group of foxes that live in the entire country to show up just to see what's going on. The Russian defense establishment is in a place called Yamanatu Mountain. I think it's Yamanatau or something like that. That's, I guarantee you, we're not being reciprocated. So it is my contention that we are months away from a total takeover of this country. Foreign troops will be used to slaughter, my words, don't get mad at Alex for my statement, to take away the guns. And when they were geocoding and geopositioning all of our homes on GPSs, it was interesting, Alex. I live in a liberal neighborhood, and myself and 2 neighbors that are the only guys that hunt or have weapons in this neighborhood that I know of, everybody else has Obama stickers, basically we're the only ones that received the door-to-door, if you will, GPSing of our front doors. And
let me stop you, because this is amazing. I'm glad you just raised this. You were on my show 2 years ago during the census, 2010, but that was going to be every 10 years. Now it's every year. And they've got these expanded ones where they ask how many guns you got, what type of toilets, what type of bank accounts. And I remember you saying, this is to mark GPS for weaponized drones. And people went ape over that. And the Comedy Central played a clip of it, of you on my show, and it was real funny. And then since then, they now admit they're arming the drones and using the GPS data, and the police in Texas said, we're using the GPS data from the census to mark suspects' front doors for drones. I mean, didn't somebody tell you, a source, that's how you knew that? Or did you just figure that out?
No, I was told that by a certain 4-star let's just say this, when I was really pretty well connected to the world of special operations, a certain general who was a good guy told me what a certain general who was a bad guy, saying they can't wait to send a Hellfire missile through my front door. Actually, they were a little more crude than that, Alex. They said they can't wait to, you know, shove it up my you-know-what. So the point is that it became apparent to me that with the GPSing and putting 2 and 2 together, and what I was told, that these guys are serious. Remember when you and I did a show